Have you ever heard of one of the most prolific writers in history? A guy who was responsible for this massive library of books on philosophy, science, and the afterlife. Now, what if I told you he claimed he didn't write a single word of it himself? It sounds incredible, right? Well, today we're diving into the absolutely fascinating case of Chico Xavier. Just look at that number. Over 450 books. That's not pamphlets, that's full-on titles, poetry, novels, even scientific treatises that sold tens of millions of copies. But Chico, who is from a pretty humble background in Brazil with very little formal education, he swore, he was just the scribe. He said he was a channel for authors from another world. So you gotta ask, if he wasn't the author, who was? Well, according to Chico, his main collaborator was a spirit guide, a guide named Emmanuel. This quote you're seeing here is from their very first meeting, way back in 1931. Emmanuel basically told him, "Hey, this isn't new for us. Our connection goes back thousands of years." And then he laid out this ambitious plan. Together, they were going to bring out a whole series of books to explain how the universe really works, from a spiritual point of view. Okay, so we know who the supposed authors are. But that brings up the real question, doesn't it? What in the world are these hundreds of books actually about? I can tell you it's way more than just spooky ghost stories. What this body of work presents is it's like a meticulously detailed blueprint of the spiritual world. Yeah, try to think of it less like a religious text and more like a comprehensive travel guide to the great beyond. These books literally map out the spiritual dimension as a real place, a place with work and study and constant progress. It's got societies, it's got laws, and it has one clear purpose: the ongoing evolution of the soul. So how does a spirit even interact with a world like that? Or our world, for that matter? The key idea here is something called the perispirit. You can think of it as a kind of spiritual body, an energetic blueprint that surrounds the immortal spirit. And get this, it's not totally ethereal. It has a kind of substance. It's the bridge that connects the soul to a physical body when we're alive, and it's what allows us to exist and function in the spirit world after we die. To make that a little less abstract, the book Evolution in Two Worlds gives us this brilliant analogy. I love this. It says the perispirit acts like a mold. It's the template that shapes our physical body, and it influences everything from our health to our biology based on our spiritual condition. And after death, that same mold holds on to our identity, our memories, pretty much the essence of who we are. And the level of detail they go into about this world is just staggering. We're not talking about some empty, cloudy void. We're talking about bustling spiritual cities, like one called Nasolar, which means our home. There are hospitals for healing, schools for learning, places where spirits go to recover from their lives on Earth and continue their education. Work is a huge part of it, and communication with us back on Earth, that's just considered a natural law of the universe. So you've got this entire system, this whole other world. What's the fundamental law that governs everything? It's not some angry god handing down judgment. No, it's something much more direct and, you could say, scientific, a natural law of consequence. You know, here on Earth, our justice system is mostly about crime and punishment. You do the crime, you do the time. Simple. But in the spiritual framework these books describe, the whole focus shifts to education. Every single action, good or bad, creates an equal and natural reaction. It's not about punishment. It's a feedback loop, designed so we can learn. This quote from a character in the book And Life Goes On just nails this idea perfectly. It's about a man who was super wealthy on Earth. He gets to the spirit world and has this shocking realization that his money means absolutely nothing. The real work, what he calls the work of the heart, that's something he now has to face all on his own by dealing with the consequences of how he lived. So, the bottom line is, this law is seen as perfectly just. It's completely impartial. It makes sure that every single one of us eventually has to balance our own spiritual books. Any lessons we don't learn, any harm we cause and don't fix, it's all going to circle back to us. Not as some kind of cosmic revenge, but more like a curriculum that we designed ourselves with our own past actions. Which leads to the big question, right? What's the point of all this? Why have these intricate laws of consequence and these chances to live again? Well, across all 450 of these books, the answer always points to one single overarching goal: evolution. And the engine that drives this evolution is reincarnation. It's not described as a punishment, not at all. It's an opportunity. Every life is like a new day at school. It offers a whole new set of lessons, of challenges, and chances to put into practice what we've already learned. It's what lets us experience life from every possible angle, rich, poor, powerful, powerless, all to build our empathy and wisdom. And the scale of this journey, it's just immense. As it's laid out in Evolution in Two Worlds, a spirit doesn't just pop into existence as a human. The intelligent principle, as they call it, starts in the most basic forms of life, evolving through countless stages, from simple excitability in minerals and plants to the instinct of animals, and finally, arriving at reason and conscience in humanity. And even that's just another step on the path towards a state of spiritual perfection they call angelitude. Okay, I know that's a lot to take in, so let's try to zoom out. What's the big takeaway from this incredible, massive body of work? If you look past all the specific details, what you find is a really coherent and profound system of philosophy. If you boil it all down, these are the pillars. 1. The soul is immortal. It survives the body. 2. Reincarnation is how we learn and grow. 3. Communication between our world and the next is possible. 4. Cause and effect is the universal law of justice. And 5. We are not alone, not by a long shot. The universe is just teeming with life on countless other planets, all part of this same grand evolutionary journey. So whether you see Chico Xavier as a saint, a genuine medium, or maybe just a conduit for a really powerful philosophy, you can't deny the legacy of this work. It presents a vision of the universe that's orderly, that's just, and that is absolutely filled with purpose. It suggests that our lives, your life, my life, they have profound meaning, and that every little thing we do ripples out into eternity. It really just leaves us with a question to think about. If this is all true, if life really is a continuous journey of learning, how should that change the way we live, right here, right now?